Hi, guys, and welcome to Addicts Having Coffee with me, Tony Quinn. And on this podcast, we talk addiction, recovery, and everything in between. And today, I am so excited to say that I have Gina M with me. Gina, say hi. Just put her on the spot like that.
Well, good spot.
Good spot. So me and you have known each other for quite a while now, I would say. When did we even meet?
At the Soweto
Convention.
Yes.
Is that where we met?
Yes. Yeah, you were standing around there, and I was like, "Who's that funny chick there? Like, really funny chick.
Funny?
Like half funny.
Like I made you laugh?
Yeah.
Or were you laughing at me?
No, I was laughing with you.
I love that. See,
Yeah.
I'm actually hilarious, but Gina is just as hilarious. What we're talking about is we were at a 12-step convention, and that's where I met Gina. You shared that day, and that was hilarious. And that's why I asked you on, just because you're so genuine in your story, you're honest with your story, and incredibly vulnerable and incredibly funny. And I think your story is incredibly important, as is everyone's. So I'm just excited to have you here.
Thank you. I'm really excited to be here. I was pretty anxious in the beginning, but then I realized, why am I so anxious? This is what I love doing.
Exactly.
You're giving back to what I got. You know, and yes, there's some humor in it, because why not have humor? What happens if we just go, oh, woe is me?
Exactly.
You know, I'd like to try and tell people that it's okay. It's okay. Share your story, because someone out there is going to relate. And make it funny. Because you know what? I did some crazy stuff.
Yeah.
Today.
Stuff. She says stuff. I could see you holding back.
I was holding back.
Good. Don't swear for 10 minutes and then you can go all out.
Oh, okay.
No, I also appreciate that. I appreciate the humor in the telling of recovery stories as well. For example, for me, a lot of the content I make is satirical because I don't want to reenact a really traumatic moment which seems so disingenuous when you're watching it. And for someone currently struggling, they're able to look at it and relate to it, and it's more palatable. Then obviously it gets to the point where we have to figure out when it is funny and when it isn't funny, and we go through the motions, and that's recovery, right?
Exactly.
So, Jean, I think the best place to start, and I say this to everyone, is at the beginning. Let's learn a little bit about you, your story, and your life. Take it away.
So how far do I have to go back?
I want to, when you were born.
When I was born, I was so tiny, I had to sleep in a shoebox. I think that's where it all started. I mean, who puts a child in a shoebox?
Wait, are we being serious?
Yes, I'm being very serious.
You were in a shoebox. Yes. Okay, please continue.
Yes. I was premature. Is that how far back you want to go? I was premature, and I was they put me in a shoebox. They had to make clothing, doll clothing, because I was so tiny. But I guess that's where it all started. I mean, it was never planned. I mean, obviously, my parents had an oopsie on her 20th birthday.
Oh.
So from there, I can imagine how devastating it was for my father to have a child and to be, because he was also sick.
Yeah.
So skipping some years forward, I mean, it was great fun. I got to learn about motorbikes.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. But when I say that, it was also my first escape as an addict.
Okay.
From a very toxic childhood.
Yeah.
No child should ever have to go through what I went through. And no little girl should ever go through what I went through. And I think that's where it all began.
Yeah.
I learned to keep secrets, secrets that no one should ever keep. And this is why we encourage it nowadays for kids to speak up.
Exactly.
Because I never got the chance to speak up. And I think that took a big toll on me.
It absolutely did.
Yeah, so I remember, things were done to me. I was told to keep quiet. It was glamorized.
Yes.
If you are like this, I love you. And what child is going to go, yeah, pass me that lollipop. It's good. Come on, carry on.
Yeah.
Okay, I was that child.
Yeah.
And that is what I went through all my life. And my parents were in a very... I never knew love. I did not know what the concept of love was. There was a lot of abuse from my mom and my dad. And me being me would stand up and I would protect myself.
Okay.
So growing up, it was... So from a very young age, I wanted to escape. There was only one way. Back then, motorbikes.
Explain that a bit. How did that come in?
I wanted to get away from my home.
Yeah.
And I remember we stayed in this suburb, and there was a lot of hills and things. I'm like, I want to run to that hill. I just want to run to that hill and no one's going to find me. Thankfully, I didn't have to run because at that stage, I didn't think I liked running.
Do you like running now?
Not at all. No.
Sorry, we just discussed how much we hate hiking. Carry on.
Right? My dad bought my brother a motorbike.
Oh.
He enjoyed the Barbie dolls. I enjoyed the motorbike. So I got onto the motorbike, and that was my first escape because I could ride to that hill.
Okay.
And that's how it started.
How old were you?
I was about 10, 11 years old, and it carried on like that. So for years I got a motorbike, and every time my dad wanted to say sorry, what did I get? A bigger motorbike.
Like actual motorbikes?
Yeah, actual motorbike. Because that was his way of showing I'm sorry.
Yes.
And I love
transactional, here's a gift, now you'll forgive me.
Exactly.
Absolutely, yeah.
And I went with it. So what happened to me then is already, if you're going to harm me, I'm going to expect something back. So I knew. So if anybody was going to fight, if it was like a domestic relationship or if it was anything like that, I'm going to take.
Yes.
And that addict behavior started.
I get that. Starting from a young age and identifying that addict behavior from a young age. I just first of all want to say thank you for being so honest about the abuse and things you went through. It's so important. And getting that out after carrying that a secret for so long is important. And I think a lot of people will relate to that. And this transactional kind of thing with your first escape being motorbikes. I mean, there's a metaphor in there, like somewhere, someone unpack it. But continue. Sorry, I'm just like really taking this in.
Yeah, well, I like to bring it up because I don't want to tell you about sad story.
Yeah.
But there are people out there that I still believe. And I love speaking to women about it because us as women, we do not hear. We've been prone to keep quiet.
Yeah.
I love new age generation. They're more vocal. They've got social media and I can post on there and it's great. But what about the ones that never got to say anything?
Exactly.
And that is my passion. So, and we learned from this. I learned a big lesson from this because keeping quiet. So I carried that with me all my life, that it became okay. It's okay for you to do things to me.
Yeah.
Just give me a sucker afterwards.
Yeah.
It's okay for you to do that and that to me because I'm so used to it.
Give me a treat.
Exactly.
Give me the treat. Every relationship can become transactional.
Exactly. So I allowed these people to do this to me. I mean, I don't. So when I tell people or women especially that it's okay to say this, but how would you know? I said, my darling, there's nothing that you can tell me that I haven't been through. My life is like a nightmare. Well, I would say a horror movie, but slash, there's some comedy in it. You know, those like really, because I don't make it negative for me to always remember the sad part because it's done. I had to unpack it.
That's the thing.
I had to process it. I had to accept it. And I have. For years I carried that. I was only 34 when I told the truth.
Yeah.
34 years old when I said my first recovery center, and I wouldn't tell anyone. And I opened up. I said, I'm 34 years old. I'm telling you now, these are all the things that happened to me. Help me. Help me unpack it. Because for years I carried it and I allowed it. I allowed those people to do those things.
I just want to, and I know you did, but I just want to say as a kid.
Oh, it's tough.
Yeah.
It's tough.
I don't know if that's, you can't really even allow it because it's happening to you as a kid,
I knew you're different.
Yeah.
So what happened to me was I then would take it out on other people.
Okay.
So
yeah.
I would go to school and whatever was being done to me, I would do to other people. And that was my sick secret. I did not know that it was bad.
And as a kid?
Didn't
as
know.
a kid, this is an important conversation. This is a very important conversation.
Because children should be aware of that. There are signs today that we can pick up. And no one, obviously there were signs, and I'm sure one or two teachers must have said to me, yo, come here, little girl, let me sit down and tell me what's going on. I don't know, I can't even remember that stuff. But for me it was very difficult.
Yeah.
And then later on, I think it got a bit too much.
Okay.
And that's when the drinking started.
How old were you?
I was 13 when I started drinking. 13 when I started drinking, like, properly.
I was the same age.
I remember my gran was still drinking skip. What's that?
Skip. I wish I could say I could know what that is, but
sherry.
I don't.
It's like sherry.
Okay.
And I'm just like, this sherry makes everything so warm and fuzzy. And I need that warm and fuzzy because I'm not getting it anywhere else.
There we go.
And I just drank. It had to be skip sherry back in the day because I got that. I got something that made me feel comfortable.
we get this is a theme in everything. It's finding a solution that we think is a solution to an issue that's way bigger than we can comprehend at the moment. Yeah.
And I loved it.
Yeah.
I loved it so much that I started giving it to my friends. You know? And now I'm the cool kid.
Yeah.
Now I'm the cool kid. What happened afterwards? Everything was blown out of proportion. School, I didn't care about that. I had no concept of actually being at school. But then I was like, okay, I've got to get my stuff together.
No, you can swear now. It's fine.
Okay, now. Yeah. I've got to get my shit together. So I became very sporty, like, you know, that sporty pro, because there I got affirmation.
Oh, see, now more affirmation comes into it. So explain the sports stuff. What kind of sports?
I ended up doing judo. I did do running. I did. It was hurdles. You know, I don't know why I wanted to jump over things. Maybe I was so good at jumping over everything. I just thought, let me just go and do it. So I started doing hurdles, long jump, high jump. And I did all of those things again to not go home.
Oh,
After school,
Gina.
I didn't have to go home.
Yes.
So that became my life. You know, I did judo because I thought, you know, this is going to protect me. This is going to protect me from my dad. This is going to protect me from all the boys. This is what I can go through. So I kept that. But that didn't last too long because I then eventually found drugs.
Yeah.
You know, and I was 16 when my first boyfriend decided to slip acid into my mouth.
Yeah. Tell me about that.
And that was fun and games. I had never felt... And some people, like their first time, they'd freak out. I didn't freak out. I thought it was the best stuff in my... I've never tasted this.
Did he tell you what it was?
No,
Giving it to you? Okay.
No, he just kissed me, slipped it into my mouth. Yeah, goes Gina, tripping balls for like a long time. Loving it. I loved it so much. So
16 years old.
16 years old. At that stage now, I'm now using this every single day. Yes. I wanted more and more. Today, I do not understand how I've still got the IQ that I have.
That's the thing. I know that it can, like using it on that level, and I understand people can use it for a variety of reasons, but using it on that level is incredibly dangerous from what I understand. Do not come for me. If I'm wrong, I'll put links and stuff. I know. But it can have really negative effects if you also struggle with mental illness on top of it, if you're doing it that frequently.
Thankfully, I didn't know then that I had mental issues. I didn't know then I was funny, so it's okay.
Yeah, okay.
Now I know I have mental issues, and that's why I am the way I am today. But I embrace it. So, you know, my life then also... So my parents got divorced, and, you know, it becomes a sticky situation. Who do I choose? I don't want to live with my mom. She's just as bad as my dad. So I was in between, but now I'm using. I became the popular kid. I became everything that I wanted to be, because if I'm just above everybody, I'd be okay.
I get that.
I'd be okay. I'd be safe. Everybody wants to be my friend.
Yeah. I'm in control. I am who you aspire to be, kind of thing. And everyone loves me. Validation.
I didn't care about your parents.
Yeah.
You know, I am the child that your parents want you not to be friends with. And I did not care.
Yeah.
I really didn't care. You know, and I remember being in high school, I was about just before I was 18. And I broke the school toilet because I was doing way too much other things in the bathroom.
What, drugs?
Yeah.
Okay.
Do you remember Tiplex dinners?
Very much so.
You know?
Yes.
On your school time?
Yes. Very much. On everything.
Yes.
On everything.
Yes. And I broke the school toilet. And I got called into the office, and I remember the principal saying to me, you know, say to my mom, listen, if you take your daughter out of our school, we'll give her a good school report.
Oh, wow.
She is not school material. How did that make me feel? Boss.
I completely understand that.
I am the person you want to be like.
I am the coolest person in school. Gina, just to relate a little bit, I remember once we brought alcohol into the school, and it was 2-liter Valpre bottle of water that we thought no one would pick up on, and just filled it with alcohol and handing it out to everyone, getting the whole school trash, getting trashed on top of it, and then getting caught and being like, yeah, they called our names over the intercom. And we walked to there, like we the top kids of the school. I am in the movie The Craft, and we're the witches walking through. Like, that's how I felt.
And everybody parted and you just walked.
Dude, it was just a power play. It was completely seeking validation and becoming a character.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And this is why they called me Pixie in high school. Not because of the little pixies, but, you know, where is my mind? You know, from the song.
There's a song by the Pixies called, this is a song about a superhero named Tony. It's called Tony's Theme, and I got played that at school. Sorry?
And I got called Pixie because I was out of my mind. Where is your mind? But that's how I lived. I lived because in the background, my life was not okay. My home life was not okay. I was abusing my mom, like completely. And to this day, I've worked through it, but I was abusing my mom for what I wanted. You know,
so relatable.
I would lock her in the bathroom. I would throw coffee on her. I would steal her car keys. I was trouble. The amount of stuff, and you know, and my drug take just started escalating, and I couldn't finish high school. You know, my mom left me in Johannesburg. I was like 18, and I was raped and fell pregnant, and you know. Yeah, well, I'd been so used to it. For me, it wasn't anything. But at this point, it was 18. That's when I really thought, I have a problem.
Yeah.
I have a problem because I had fell pregnant with my friend's mom's boyfriend.
At 18
years old, yeah. So I remember my mom just going, get rid of it. And I was like, but maybe I can be a good mother. You know, I'm a good person, but I couldn't. So I had to, and that's where no more was I trying to take to be happy. And now I started taking and using to hide what I was really going through. So I'd never worked through it. So, you know, I had to get rid of the baby. But that's when I realized, and I remember the song Tears in Heaven by Eric Clapton.
That's the most beautiful song.
And that's the song, and that's the time that I realized I'm actually really depressed. What happened to me then, and I was so used to it, but it's the fact that I had now taken another life away from that life to be wherever I don't know if you're there, Tears in Heaven, baby. But that is when it really got to me that I'm using to actually mask.
It breaks my heart the way you share. First of all, a lot of women have been through on similar journeys, and it's so important to speak about it. So I really commend you for saying this out loud. And it just, you know, you find yourself in a situation where you are being abused. That is a man in a power position, you know, coming in, you're a young girl, and this happens to you. And I understand the self-blame and the blame that even our parents can put on us in that situation.
I was very angry with my mom. I hated my mom after that. I won't lie. It was like, why did you take it? Yeah. I just, why did you take that away from me? You know, maybe that could have saved me. Maybe that is something that would have changed my behavior. Not knowing I am the problem.
Yeah.
You know, and everything else is just my way of going, I'm okay. So I really wasn't okay. And I think that's when it all spiraled out. You know, I didn't have an education. I became a proper junkie, you know, that is, yeah, it was, I was trying to find jobs everywhere. Eventually I managed to find a job, and the dude said to me, but you are a complete and utter addict. You need help. And I just couldn't get that help. You know, so for years I carried that with me.
When you say you couldn't get that help, is it accessibility
to
help, or you just didn't want the help?
I didn't think anybody would understand.
Yes, okay.
No one would understand me and what I was going through, because that traumatic experience brought back all of the other stuff.
Yeah.
Now you're looking at, I mean, at 18, no one should actually really go. That's just when your life should start. Yes, Gina, I'm partying, I'm happy. I mean, there was a club called Doors. I don't know if you remember Doors.
I know Doors well. Tuesday night, Doors.
I was at
2 for 1.
I was on top of that balcony, and I was doing my thing.
Doors.
No, I remember Doors.
Yeah.
Doors was fun, right?
Do we know each other at Doors?
Probably.
We knew each other.
No, I think so.
Yeah.
I can't remember many people.
I fell down the stairs there. That was
really?
That was
Yeah, I broke my foot.
Yeah, things like that. Anyway, side note. So you were at Doors partying.
I was at Doors, and you know, and I remember that's just where it all began. You know, and later on it became more than just acid. It later on became like crack.
Yeah.
And crack became my friend. So I'd get high and then I would use crack. And I would find myself lying in the bath, smoking crack. This was my life. And my life carried on like that for years. And I had this philosophy, if you can afford it, then do it. So I would get all these odd jobs.
How did you support your habit?
I would work in video shops, because back in the day we didn't have videos. We actually had VHS type of stuff, you know, and I would work there, and in the nighttime I would be partying, because that was just my life. But at the end of the day, it just wasn't enough. So did I ever try and stay clean? No. Would I try and deny the fact that I'm an addict? Yeah.
Yeah.
Try to hide it really well. But my life just started spiraling out until one day I was like, I am going to study psychology so I can help all the children out there. Until someone said to me, it's going to be the death of you. It's going to be the death of you. So I literally, at 28, I decided to go back to school. I was 28 years old.
28. Yeah. So all this time, so you went, sorry, I just want to get a clear timeline. You went to high school, you left high school, and during that time it was odd jobs, drugs, partying, that kind of lifestyle.
Just to maintain my drug lifestyle.
Exactly.
I didn't want to do anything else but drugs.
Okay.
I was okay being a junkie.
Yes.
I was okay to be the fact that I am going to die a junkie.
Yes.
You know.
And we romanticize that. Very much.
I loved the fact that I felt invincible, like I could do any drug. And, I mean, people would tell me, when they had bad trips, I'm like, I've never had a bad trip in my life. And that's God's honest truth. Drugs was my life.
Yeah.
I love drugs.
Identity, life, who am I without this? And then you just, at 28.
Yeah.
What happened then?
Yeah. They told me I needed a matric certificate. And I'm like, what the hell must I do with a matric certificate? I just want to go and cook. Like, that's all I want to do. Because now my motive to become a chef was money.
Yeah.
So I could support my habit. So at 28, I went back to school. I did back then it was standard 9 and 10 in 1 year. I did 9 and 10 in 1 year. I did that, and then I went to go and study to be a chef, which was great. They even told me at the chef school, you're never going to be a chef. You're not going to make it. If anybody phones us for a referral, I'm going to tell them you're a really shitty person.
Yeah.
I made it. But in between, I never looked back. I never dealt with what was going on with me.
Yeah.
I was very confused on being straight or gay.
Okay. Do you want to tell us a bit about that? If you're comfortable with it, of course.
Because of all the things that had happened to me, my brother, bless his soul, he's born gay. He's born Britney Spears. I'm not born. I don't know. But I'm not born Britney Spears. I was born to be a girl, but everything that had happened to me, I became so fearful of men.
Yeah.
Today I can look at a man and go, you're handsome. I like you, but I like you because I want your body on me. I want to look like that hot. So I became very fearful of men, to a point that if a man had to touch me like this, I'd freak out. I'd freak out completely. So I struggled with my identity. I had boyfriends, but we'd become swingers so that I didn't have to sleep with them.
Yeah.
Or just go and find yourself a woman because I can't.
Yeah.
I can't do that.
And was that also in association with the drug use? Yeah. So that also, that swinger kind of lifestyle or partners,
a lot of drugs. A lot of drugs.
Yeah.
And it was fun. Yeah. In my head, it was fun. We'd go to someone's house and there's this stuff I can want to. And I'm like, I want to be part of that. But I want the woman.
Yeah.
I want the woman.
And that made you feel safe as well. And
it started becoming, okay, so in my head, I'm going to treat a woman better. I'm not going to hurt a woman.
Yeah.
But it's also my downfall because I became a player. I could get any woman I wanted. I had such a bad name. Bad reputation. That all the lesbians in Port Elizabeth didn't want to be my friend. Stay away from her. Stay away from her. She's a drug addict. She's a player. And I did. I took that upon myself. Look, there's many secrets that obviously I would never reveal.
Yes, of course.
But, that turned my life around. I mean, I had to do things to get my drugs. It only came out 2 years ago what I had to do.
Yeah.
And I mean, I don't mind sharing it because a lot of women actually have to be very careful of it. So how I used to get my drugs was...
I just want to say, as long as you're comfortable.
Yeah, I'm comfortable with it. That's the beauty of this program.
Yeah.
That is what's been so amazing, is I'm allowed to say it and express it because I've worked through it.
There we go, Gina.
I don't take this program lightly.
Yeah.
I take it that if I really want this, I'm going to reveal it. I'm going to feel it. I'm going to laugh about it, and I'm going to throw it away. It's done. We go through step 9, making these
amends.
And I had to do an action one by helping a woman's shelter, which was fine, which was great for me. But I did that. That's how sick I was. So I am that junkie again.
I think what's so great is the way you describe that. Like, yes, we can say abuse, becoming abuser, victim, becoming victimizer. At the end of the day, we're still responsible for our decisions and the things that we've done. You know, like I abused my mom. I harmed my family. And it was very easy for me in the moment to make the excuse of, hey, this has happened to me. I'm going to do it to you again. And that cycle of trauma and inflicting trauma kept me sick for a very long time. And only in recovery was I able to take a step back and go, you know what? I don't like the person I was being. And I am responsible for what I did. And my past doesn't excuse what I did. You know?
Exactly. Later on, I did feel bad and I started roofing myself instead, which was fun because I'd wake up on the back of a bucket and somebody would go, Gina, and I'm like, yo, how did I get here? What did I miss? They're like, oh, well, you won a prize by downing a whole quart of beer. You won a prize for that. You landed up fighting with someone in the bathroom, and here we are trying to wake you up. And I'm like, I have no idea what happened.
Yeah.
But that's how much I love drugs anyway. I didn't care where I was, what I was doing. So that became a pattern, you know, and it was very hard to get out of, like I say, but I managed to somehow try and maneuver myself. And I thought if I get married, I'd be okay. But saving someone else. So, yeah, I met this lovely little 18-year-old girl. I was 28. Married her. Opened a restaurant. Failed at that restaurant because it all went up my nose. But me rescuing this little girl thought I would now be okay. Because now I'm doing the right thing.
And you put yourself on this pedestal of I'm the savior in this situation, whereas you're just bringing the trauma and destruction, you know?
And I couldn't love. If you ask me today what is love, I'll be able to tell you. But I couldn't love then. So I used that and I thought, okay, that can keep it clean. I kept on using behind her back. I couldn't stay clean. I bought a bar, put the bar in the house. Everybody came over. We drank. You know, that's what we did for fun. Because I just couldn't stop. Marriage couldn't help. Geographical couldn't help. Nothing could help.
Do you want to explain what a geographical is to everyone?
So that's when I used to run in between from Port Elizabeth to Joburg. So I was up and down the whole time. You know, and for me that was great. So if I got into trouble here, I would move to PE. Mm-hmm. Because that would, you know, I'd stay clean in PE.
Yeah.
But that didn't help. If I got in trouble there, I'd go to Cape Town.
Yeah.
You know, because you know what? I don't know anybody in Cape Town. I'll be fine.
Yeah.
I know no dealers. I'm going to be fine there.
Yeah, I won't use if I go to Cape Town. No. I also always thought that about Cape Town.
And wasn't it so easy then to just pluck fines?
The geographical thing, you'll find no matter. Sorry, guys. See, there's water here. You'll find if you are looking, you will find.
Yeah.
And there's no you can't outrun your addiction.
No. So it never helped. But anyway, if I fast forward to that, wife and I were married for 6 years. Obviously, I was using, but I wasn't using as much now. You know, I managed to get a job. I studied for 3 years to be a chef. I got a job. I was job after job after job because I couldn't keep a job.
Yes, so it's the constant moving, avoiding consequence.
Do you know what I tell myself? I'm that great chef that everybody wants me.
Oh, yes, I can get hired whenever I want to get hired. That's also another thing that comes with this kind of substance. And I know with crack as well, it's that inflated sense of self. And it's a form of, it's just, I am better than everyone else. I get what I want. I do what I want. And that's also like what you just discussed previously, gives room to you doing the most awful things because you think you're better.
Yeah.
You know?
Because I was the shit. Nothing could touch me. Like I would land up then I was really good at what I did. Don't get me wrong. I mean, I'd landed up on top billing. I'd landed up on...
Top billing?
Yeah, I'd landed up in newspapers and magazines. I remember my uncle phoning me and said, oh, did you know that you're in the In-Flight magazine? And I'm like, no, I didn't. But that's how good I really was. And you know what my secret was? I got stoned all the time and made really good food. That was my secret. Like, so my boss asked, how do you get it right? I'm like, bro, if you only knew how stoned I get every time I walk into this kitchen and I look at everything, and I'm like, that's what I want to do. But my addiction got really bad.
Yeah.
It really bad. My marriage started spiraling out. I was introduced to crystal. Mm-hmm. And in 6 months of using, I lost my house, I lost my wife, I lost my 6 dogs, my 5 cats, I lost my cars. That's how quickly it spiraled out, to the point of, I remember where I worked at one stage, I had no more chef jackets that would fit me. I was too tiny.
Yeah.
Right then and then, I wrote my resignation because now they'd caught me.
Yeah.
That's it. I'm now done. And that's when it spiraled out. My poor father, bless his soul, found me. I was almost dead, and he tried to help me, and they shipped me off to Johannesburg.
So your father, who you had a tumultuous relationship with growing up, tried to help you at this point. Wow.
He did. And he shipped me off here to go to rehab, but I wasn't ready. How do you send someone to rehab that's only been using for over 25 years? How do you do that? How do I stay clean? I didn't know that clean was actually a life. All I've known is hurt, drugs, being in a place where I didn't have to feel or think. So here I am, cheating the system in rehab, still using, become like, doctor, recovery. We've been there. I had all the textbook answers. And until one day they caught me. And that was when I landed up in Hillbrow. I had nowhere to go. Geographical again. Moved to Mauritius, of all places.
From Hillbrow to Mauritius. How?
My mom had then obviously, her and her husband obviously had now got into business. And I'm like, okay, I'll go to Mauritius. There's no drugs there. There's no drugs there.
There's no drugs in Mauritius, you guys.
But, there's no drugs.
So you moved to Mauritius that has no drugs, but a lot of alcohol, I would assume.
A lot of alcohol.
So tell us a bit about that.
That was a fun time. So here I am, all the way now from Joburg. I'm going through withdrawals, like big time.
Yeah.
And my mom was there. She had to go through those withdrawals. And from crystal and heroin, those ANA things. Nothing could help me.
Were you on heroin as well at this point? So it went crack, meth, and then heroin. And obviously you mixed the heroin and the crystal to try sleep and balance it out.
Yes, sometimes even mixing it together, which I think was a deadly combination, but I loved it anyway.
For your heart, mixing substances, for anyone who knows, if you're mixing uppers and downers, your heart can very much get stop.
Yeah.
Because you've got the heart rate going up, heart rate going down, competing against each other. Very, very dangerous. Yeah.
But I enjoyed it.
Yeah.
I think it was like a big risk, but I really thoroughly enjoyed it. So there was nothing there.
Yeah.
Like you could get, but it was like 3,000 rupees just for a little bit of heroin. So I had to maintain somehow. So I got a job. I got a job with a wonderful woman. Our interview was great. I got drunk with her and she said, "You've got the job." And that's when the drinking started escalating. It escalated to the point where I had to come back to South Africa to get my visa work permit thing going, which I managed to then smuggle some stuff back to Mauritius.
On the airplane, that's a huge... I went to the airport once with stuff on me, and I have never been so paranoid in my entire life, and I didn't care, dude.
I didn't care.
Didn't care.
I needed it. I needed it to the point where alcohol was not enough for me. Because in my head, I don't have a drinking problem, but it escalated. So I did. I took that with me. It lasted another 6 months there, and I had to come back.
Yeah.
I had to come back. Landed up in Tambo, had nowhere to go, on the street again. Like, literally back onto the street. And that's where it also became my horror story, which, I'm busy writing a book now about it called Another Brick in the Wall.
Wow.
Because that's when it really started. I think that is, we can say, our rock bottom. But I've had many rock bottoms.
Yes.
Don't get me wrong. But for me, that was it. That is when I had no more money.
Yeah.
I was on the street. I had to start selling myself. And being gay it was so difficult for me. My girlfriend was also on the street with me. I mean, I would sell her for 20 rand.
Yeah.
Like literally, you don't want me, you want her.
Yeah.
And I promise you, I would sell her for 20 bucks. Just so I could get my next little fix. And it escalated to the point where now it was okay to start sleeping around. I never slept with guys for money. I slept for drugs.
Yeah.
And that's how it started spiraling out. And that's when I could see the shift and change in myself.
Yes, of course.
This is where it's getting a bit too much for me.
Yeah.
I kept on phoning the same rehab I was in. Please, can you take me back? No. I thought I was really brave. Look, nothing happened to me on the street. Nothing bad happened to me, all by choice. But
I applaud you for saying that, and a lot of people I know how it works. People are like choice. At the end of the day, it's a drug of no choice. It puts you in situations where it started as a choice. Everything starts as a choice, and eventually that choice gets taken from you. But you are in those situations where you're actively saying to yourself, again, this is the thing I love about you, is that you are not playing victim in your own story. You're saying, this is what happened to me, and I found myself in this situation, and you're owning it. And that is how we let go of guilt and shame, because a lot of people, for me, when it came to that kind of stuff, when it came to any kind of thing associated with sex work or anything along those lines, the guilt and the shame ate me alive.
I did.
Alive. And I can't imagine what it's like if you're dealing with sexuality at the same time, and and the only thing driving you is substance. And then there's another human being involved, and you're going, here's $20, take her, don't take me. And we can justify that.
That's the thing. Now, all my past came back to me. I would do these things with you because you're going to give me a sucker.
Yeah.
I'm going to do these things because I'm getting something back. And that's just how I went. But it killed me. I remember plenty of times just lying in a fetal position and saying, I can't anymore. I can't. I would cry at night. I get nightmares still. I do. I won't lie to you. I still get nightmares. I mean, even just talking about it, I can feel like it's like the things I had to do. The things I had to do, and that's what scared me, and that is my passion, is to tell women that you don't have to do that. Children, you don't have to do that. But that's what drove me to it, to the point where I was dead. This is where I was dead. Look, eventually, a couple of months later, they came to fetch me off the street, and I remember taking all my clothes off.
Who's there? That was your family?
No, my family wanted nothing to do with me. Absolutely nothing to do with me. I think my mom was going through a tough love, where
yes, of
just
course.
leave her because she needs to go through this. I don't know where she got that. If she got it from any self-help books, I'm going to shout at the self-help books, because help them.
Yeah.
If they choose not to want to be helped, that's great. But I wanted help. I wanted the help. I wanted to get out of it. Until the rehab that they came to fetch me.
Wow.
But I took all that clothes off, like everything. I got into their car and I said, I'm ready. I went to the rehab. I was completely naked. For me, that was like, a new start.
Yeah.
Then I really got it. But it was the fear of not going back onto the street that drove me to get clean.
Okay.
Why I say just the fear, because now I'm in recovery a year and a half later. I think I've got this shit.
So after going to the rehab, okay, yeah.
I relapsed. And it was a woman's fault. No, joking. It was my fault. It was my fault. Sorry, woman. Sorry, woman. It was my fault.
It was a woman's fault.
Because now I'm no longer scared. Now maybe I could be a functional addict,
Isn't that crazy? Because you remember those fearful moments, dude. Like, it doesn't matter what happens. Like, my kidneys stopped working, right? Like, things like this would keep happening to me. And I was like, okay, this fear. And I remember that fear. That fear is overwhelming. Or even moments where I thought I was going to die. Yeah. Like, I don't ever want to feel this again. I don't ever want to feel this again. It is so easy to forget fear.
Completely.
Completely. Easy.
So I forgot all of that. So I relapsed. And it was a very scary relapse for me, because I started noticing the pattern. Now I'm living a normal, happy life. I start using again. What happens is I land up into a guest house again. We all know what happens after a guest house. It's on the street again.
Yeah.
So I remember phoning a friend that's also in recovery, and I said, look, I've relapsed. And she said to me, you got to start again. And that's when I went into the rooms with a lot of shame and guilt.
Okay, so I just want to say, so the rehab you went to, the rehab that picked you up, was that a 12-step rehab? So a lot of people watching this, like, just in regards to that, I speak about a lot. 12-step work for me, work for you. Doesn't work for everyone, but it's a great way to kind of ground you. And the rehab offered that. So then you kind of work through these emotions of, acceptance, taking a personal inventory, understanding yourself, understanding your behavior, how you got there. Then you leave, right? Yeah. Then it's guest house. Then it's relapse. Then it's guest house. And did you feel like with that relapse, because you learned so much about yourself and your behaviors, even if you didn't really want to know about them when you first tried that sobriety, that it made the relapse harder in a way?
It did, because even though my motive of not using was fear of the street, all those 12 steps, I did it. But Google helped me a lot for the answers. So was I actually really doing it for myself? Was I actually really getting to know myself? How unmanageable my life is? Was I really working step 1? Was I really working step 2? Was I really handing over? Did I really take step 4? I got answers from Google, guys. Google helps you with this stuff. Never mind ChatGPT. It helps you. Where was truth? Where was the truth in this whole thing? My motive was not to use to go back onto the street.
It wasn't for you.
No, it wasn't for me.
Yeah.
The last relapse I had was scary because I was teaching.
Cooking.
I was teaching.
Yeah.
And I
Were you teaching cooking?
Yeah.
Okay.
I was teaching. And I remember one of my colleagues turned around, and if she's watching this, you know who you are, turned around and said, Gina, you're lit like a Christmas tree. And I was just like, shit. Now people can actually start seeing it. So like, what do? So I booked myself into a halfway house, not into a rehab, but this halfway, I went down on my hands and knees and I said, help me. Help me know me. Why am I? Why do I keep on going back into that cycle? Where's the truth behind this all? The truth is, it's me. So I walked in there. I said, don't tell me about stopping drugs. I'm not interested in that. I want to know what makes me want to use all the time. Find the core person. Because now I'm not scared of the streets anymore.
Yeah.
I'm now scared of myself.
Yeah. Wow.
I'm so scared of myself. I don't know who I am. I was 40 when I went back. 41 when I went back into treatment. It's about time I knew who I was. I didn't want the mask anymore. Yeah, I'm great. I love being funny. Don't get me wrong. But I'm now funny for the right reasons because, guys, I'm so fucking funny. It's not even... and I love myself. But I needed to know, who the hell is Gina?
Yeah.
You know, where's my purpose?
How did you find that?
By surrendering.
Do you want to take us through the process, kind of tools you learned in that process at that halfway house and what changed?
I really didn't Google my answers anymore. I didn't use ChatGPT. I actually read the questions, and if I did not understand the questions, I would ask for help.
Yeah.
Something that even today I can ask my sponsor is I struggle to ask for help. I'm slowly getting there, and it's like almost 5 years later, I'm slowly getting there, but I had to ask for help. I had to understand, what is this whole program all about?
Yeah.
I went to meetings, I took the cotton wool, you know that saying, eh? Take the cotton wool out of your ears and put it in your mouth. I did that.
Sit in a meeting and listen.
Listen.
Yeah.
I didn't care that, you weren't in the same background because I realized you actually were. And I started enjoying that.
Similarities, not differences.
Not differences. I started feeling the connections. I mean, there's one friend of mine, and I thought she was a complete puppy. Like, I'm like nothing like her. But I found my happy place with her. And today we're still friends.
Oh, that's sweet.
Similarities, not differences. 2 total backgrounds. So I was like, okay, I can let these people in.
Yeah.
And by letting these people in, I got to show who I am. I didn't know who I was. They saw who I was. They told me, this is you. This is who you are. I'm not that little girl that went through all the stuff that she went through. I'm not that chick that was on the streets doing what she had to do. Today, I get to feel a sense. I feel free. I feel free. Yes, obviously, there's times when my head and my heart is not aligned, and then I'm like, okay, but what am I not doing? What am I not doing? And I got to remember, I got to go to a meeting. So surrendering that for me was not a white flag as a cliche thing that they all say, but was actually listening.
Yeah.
Listening to how can I get help through this. So it wasn't the treatment center. I love them. You guys saved my life. But it was the 12 steps.
That's what I say, right? Is a lot of people will listen to this and be like, at the end of the day, rehab is a privilege. It's an expensive endeavor, depending where you go. There's government facilities that are great,
yeah.
But it also, everything just ends up costing money, and it's hard. As someone who I was never someone on the street. I was in my car in a parking lot by choice, so I have to acknowledge the privilege in those moments. But going to rehab is really difficult for a lot of people to find their ways, and that's why it's always important to say, like, for me, rehab was a space that allowed me to just stay sober for a period of time, learn things. I learned about Narcotics Anonymous. I learned about community and connection and speaking with other people. The hard part's when you leave.
Yeah.
And you just described that as that you found that, like, for me, okay, I never knew who I was, ever. And you said mask. It's the perfect way to describe it. So when you go into a recovery space after being in a facility or whatever, you're just sitting as a shell of a human being.
Yeah.
Like, who am I, dude? Who am I? And being in a community where you're listening for the similarities rather than the differences allows you to slowly figure out who you are.
Yeah.
Because you're engaging with other people and they're seeing you and you're seeing them, and there's no bullshit, because you can't bullshit a bullshitter, and we're a bunch of bullshitters.
We are. And I didn't go and find the low lives because I feel I have to fit in there. I found people that are many different walks of life, but many. Like, we're all different.
Oh, because you identified as that. Okay, I get you.
I felt like that's who I'm supposed to be. So fast forwarding a bit, my dad and I eventually made an amends.
Wow.
To a point where I was like, why did you do all those things to me? And all he could tell me was, "Yeah, was fucking stoked." And that was his justification. Granted. But we learned to forgive each other. So he then passed away, which I'm so grateful that I was clean. I cried my heart out, and I think I cried because I missed out a lot. Because I was also sick. He was sick. But I made amends, he made an amends, and we got to be okay. I mean, my last stint of relapse, he was there. He showed up. I remember him crying over the phone, and I think that's what also really got to me. So when he passed away, I was present.
Yeah.
I was a present. It was difficult. A year later, my mom passed away.
Gina.
Yeah. That's what got to me, because in the 10 years of trying to recover, we got very close.
Yes.
We got very close. I supported her. She was very ill. I was by her side. So me hating my parents through this program and getting to understand me, I think I'm actually quite nice and compassionate, actually. I'll be a good mother. I think I need a baby. Oh, anyway, we'll adopt.
She's just had an existential crisis, and we're going to let her sit with it for a while.
I'm adopting. Anybody need a mother? Just call me. I'll send my number later. But I managed to, I stayed clean through that. It was very difficult for me. The trauma that was behind what had happened to my mother, very traumatic. But I stayed clean. I stayed present. Wow. That was because, in step one, they tell you your reservations.
Explain that to everyone.
So reservation is, would I use again if something really had happened? Do I leave that back door open because it's a good excuse to use? Of course, yes. I'm going through a breakup, let me use.
Yeah.
It's Christmas, I'm alone, let me use. And that was one of my things, was if my mother passes away, I'm going to use. It's been now 3 days ago was 2 years, and I still haven't used. So if I could get through that, I do not have a reservation anymore. I have no reservations.
It's, sorry, I had a reservation, and I'll never forget it. It was if my dad passed too young, like before, we could kind of grow together. And then he did, stage 4 pancreatic cancer, but I was sober. And I was able to be there for him every single step of the way. And isn't it wonderful when you get to that point and you're like, I didn't even think about using. I just wanted to be present. And that, people speak of the gifts of recovery. And when you hear that, you think financial, or you think monetary. Which is
nice
the same.
car.
Nice car.
Not a Renault Kwid that I drive, Where are those gifts? Where are those gifts?
Exactly. Wow. The greatest gift, and I'm sure you feel, is being present for people when they needed it. And being able to work through the past as much as possible. Look, we can't work through everything, and some things are genuinely not our fault.
Yeah.
But our responsibility, and how we deal with it is up to us, and that's incredible. I'm so sorry for your loss.
Thanks. Yeah, it's been tough. Like, I had to do some trauma counseling and things like that. But look, she was only 64, but I'm so grateful that I got to spend that time with her, and I got to spend that time with her clean. I went through all of that, like you say, all of that, I was present. There wasn't a time that I thought, let me use to try and deal with this.
Yeah.
And that for me, when I realized, you know what? I am an addict. I can recover, but I have to keep doing what I'm doing. because I can slip at any time.
Yeah.
I'm a junkie.
Yeah.
I love drugs. Don't get me wrong, eh? But this is not right. And I had to go down. So with her passing, I realized then that I want more.
Wow.
This is what I want more. I want to be more free. I love my job. I recently just left my job. Shit happened. But life happened. Now I'm ready to say, okay, life on life's terms. When they talk about life on life's terms, I didn't realize that we're going to go through all of this. And today I'm happy. Today I'm happy to go through it. I'm excited. I want more. I want more. Someone once said to me, and I used to go on Janis Joplin, freedom's just another word for nothing left to lose. Someone once said to me, no. Freedom is when you can get onto a plane and you can go anywhere. And that for me is what I want.
Isn't that crazy? Because in active addiction, my idea of freedom was having nothing to lose. And then I had nothing to lose.
Right.
And it's a terrifying, terrifying place to be. We can very easily glamorize that kind of life. I mean, speaking of Janis Joplin, we can glamorize that kind of lifestyle and have this really warped view and romanticized view of what freedom looks like. Freedom to me, there's a saying in recovery spaces, if you get sober, you can have a life beyond your wildest dreams. Dude, a life beyond my wildest dreams is a bad life, is what I'm saying. It's being able to live with chaos. Yeah. And I don't know what it is. It's childhood. It's glamorizing that kind of stuff. When it flips, and you realize, like, in that moment, being present for both your parents and being present for everyone else in your life and getting to know you, actually getting to know you, that is freedom.
I love myself. Today, I love myself. I love the fact that if I'm not happy in a situation, fuck that shit, bro, I'm out. Yeah. I'm out. I am not going to tolerate anything. And thanks to this program, and I've got a lovely sponsor. I really do.
Shout out Gina's sponsor.
Yeah. Yo, Jackie.
Jackie. Are we allowed to say her name? Is she going to be okay with that? We love you, Jackie.
We love you, Jackie. The fact is, and she reminds me all the time, for the help that I need. And she doesn't ask, did you ask for help? No, I didn't. And then I have to remind myself, I have to go back. So for me today, life, I'd like to say my head and my heart is kind of almost aligned. Because obviously there's things that I still need to work at, but I'm happy. I have a wonderful partner. I mean, like I was saying to you earlier, like 11 years ago we met each other. We weren't allowed to speak to each other. And I remember why, because I used to think women are food. An
opportunity.
Yes, women are food. So obviously I was not allowed to in that time to be,
because they were in a halfway house together.
We were in a halfway house together, and if anybody knows, you're not allowed to do that stuff. But the nicest thing is, once a counsellor said to me, Gina, women are friends, not food.
Gina.
Because I was. In all, I was a predator.
Yeah.
I was a predator, and I knew no better, no different to the way I lived before. I've got that life in your wildest dreams. I have that today. Because like I got here, don't let life pass you by. Because I'm not going to let it. I have, about 20 odd years left to live. I'm going to live it.
40. You're going to live forever.
I'm going to live forever. But I'm now wanting to embrace it. I am such a child at heart, and I embrace it because Batman is my favorite. Really? At night I come out with my cape. We won't say what else. But anyway. But I'm happy. I'm happy. I can honestly say I'm happy. And people I've met along the way, and that for me is recovery in a nutshell. I work the program. I don't work a perfect program. But
no one does.
No. But if I stop, I know where I can go. And that is why I choose to get connected, to speak to people, to help people. My dream is I became a qualified counsellor. My dream is to help, but it really is to help women and children, because I should have been dead a long time ago with a needle in my arm. I really should have, And someone had said to me, Gina, you should be dead on the side of the road, and that's why I choose not to be. I'm choosing other side. Like, bro, let me be on the other side of this road because this is where I can.
This is where I can help.
Yeah, I do. Did I tell you the story? Once I walked all the way from Mossel Bay to PE.
Gina,
It took me
insane.
2 days, guys, 2 days. And
what were you on?
Oh, it's crystal, eh?
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
I'm not going to lie.
Crystal.
Okay.
I was supposed to be killed. These guys jumped out of the bush. They wanted to mug me. And then instead they made me peanut butter sandwich with tea. It was really nice. And then gave me more crystal. This dude comes up to me and says, yeah, so I've just come out of jail for murder and rape. And I'm like, okay. Are you going to kill me now? He's like, no, come. Let's go. Partied with them all night. All night. And that was my life. And I thought it was so cool because I'm traveling.
And then you've got a cool story to tell, and you're collecting the shit.
I've got so many stories.
Yeah.
And when I tell other people, they're like, what the fuck? And I think it's so entertaining. Like, it's so entertaining. I mean, that night I got to experience the other side. Now I want to experience the side that I'm living right now. Like I said, I've got a wonderful partner and I'd like to see where it goes. She took me zip-lining, very scary. I cried like a baby.
I would also, yes.
Okay. And next I'm going to go river rafting, So these are the things I want to do now. I've had my time. 20-something years later, here I'm sitting. The drugs kept me young looking. Don't quote me on that. I think it was also Edgar's, by the way. Thank you. Shout out to Edgar's. All those times that I was on the street, I needed some base. You were there for me. The bathrooms, Empress Palace, for you letting me sleep in the toilets there.
Empress Palace is crazy.
Thank you for allowing me to sleep in the toilet. I really did, But all those things I can say in a sick way, it was fun. But that's not life. That's not life. Today I look at the junkies on the side of the road and I'm always reminded where I come from. It wasn't fun. And that's just really, honestly, I think today it's better. I get to sit on a couch and drink water.
Listen, this is called Addicts Having Coffee, and I would like to say that Gina did in fact have coffee, but it was before we started filming.
It was great coffee, guys.
Yes,
great
thank
coffee.
you.
Love
Bunakus.
Your water's great too. Thank you very much. Yeah, so that's basically where it is in a nutshell,
Gina, before we wrap up, I want to say thank you for being so honest and so open. We are going to be cutting stuff out so Gina does not get arrested. Please keep this part in. But Gina, I want to say I love that you touched on the fact that in recovery, life doesn't automatically get easier. That's not how it works. With or without substance, life's going to come with hardships because it's life on life's term. And you just explained so beautifully how you went from where you were to being able to be there for your mom and for your father, which must have been difficult, Gina, after everything. To be present and be there and be able to move forward. Your story is important. Your story matters. Thank you for sharing about what you went through as a child, because that'll make a child be able to speak up.
Speak up.
Exactly, or see the signs.
Parents could also just see the signs, It's very difficult, like I say, with social media and all of that, but that right now is a sign.
Yeah.
See it, because as us children, when we're at that age, we don't know how to say, listen, I'm scared.
Yeah.
I'm scared.
Gina, thank you so much. And what I am going to do is I'm going to link in this video, in the description, a link to resources for help and signs for parents to look out for with their children and resources for help that are in my link tree at all times. But we're going to add more thanks to Gina and thank you for your story.
Thank you.
Gina, I love you and I think you're hilarious and I think you're honest and I think your story is beautiful and I'm really proud to call you a friend. Thank you for being here.
I love you too. Lots and lots.
So much. But before we wrap up, I'm going to say what I always say. I love you guys. And remember, we do recover.
We do.
We do, bitches.
We do.
Thanks.